Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Good morning and welcome back to Inside the Game here on this Tuesday, October the 28th. I'm Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wangler, Ryan Glinsky, our producers, number 179 here of Inside the Game. And just like we do every day, Nate, welcome into Inside the Game.
Yeah, welcome in. I appreciate it. Another episode. A lot of good stuff we got on tap to talk about here today. So it'll be another good conversation. By the way, Ryan, if you can bump JT's mic up just a little bit. There was a little bit of a difference between me and him yesterday, but just wanted to point that out. But either way, a lot of good stuff to cover, a lot of good stuff to chat about. We were talking about a few different quotes yesterday. Obviously, the focus of our conversations is going to continue to become more and more World Cup based the closer that we get to it. And we got one really good quote around what might happen post World Cup today. I know we don't want to think quite that far ahead. We're ramping up for everything that is the World Cup 2026, and obviously some of the promises that we've heard about it being one of the biggest ones the world's ever seen, if not the biggest one. But there's a lot that comes with that. So we'll talk about that in length today. And of course, we got a few other topics that are really good too. But we've had more and more people jumping on this show. We've had more and more people engaging with our social media content. So wanted to say thank you to those people. Give us a follow on social media. You can find us pretty much anywhere. National Soccer Network. You'll get obviously clips from this show and everything else that we do, but a lot of good stuff to chat about.
Yeah, no, a ton of good stuff to talk about. Obviously, yesterday we talked about some things happening in the high school world as far as referee shoving. We got into some great questions. Great question of the day about Pulisic, about whether or not this hamstring will hurt him in regards to the World Cup, and also we dove into some of your comments and how obviously if you're involved in our social media, whether that be on YouTube or Instagram, TikTok, we keep a lookout for those, and ultimately you have a chance of having your comment being one of our discussion points here on the show. So continue to do that. We'll continue to obviously highlight you and what you're saying as long as it's constructive and clean on our platforms. But it is Tuesday, and we do have a good show lined up for you today. Yesterday we dove into the fact that it's Halloween, right, and whether or not you're kind of getting to the Halloween spirit. The question I have for everybody here today is Halloween obviously is coming up on Friday. Does Christmas start on Saturday? Does the Christmas season start on Saturday for everybody, or do you guys wait until after Thanksgiving? I'm curious because obviously, when you go shopping, right, you already start seeing some of the Christmas stuff in the stores already. It's already there, right? But do you guys subscribe to, hey, let's go put my Christmas tree up here the day after Halloween and get into the Christmas spirit, or do you want the whole month of November for Thanksgiving?
I mean, when I was younger, it started right around now. I think the start of October was when it happened. I'm just waiting for Mariah Carey to pop up. Like that's it. That's my indication that it's happening. But I haven't heard Mariah Carey on the radio. I haven't heard her at the store. I haven't heard her at the coffee shop yet. I have not heard Mariah Carey, so therefore the siren, the light in my head has not gone off yet. It's like Pavlov's dog. Like you hear it, and you're like, oh, all right, it's Christmas time. Here we go. So I haven't heard Mariah yet, so I don't know. I don't really have any at-home traditions, being that I've moved 7 times in the last year. So I'm just, but at home they got a fake tree, so they just recycle the same tree every year. So I think it just cuts down. It's a cool looking tree. I mean, it's real if you don't look at it closely enough. So there's still stuff falling off of it, but that's just the little plastic end pieces, the tree pieces that are falling out of the ground. So they do a fake tree, and I think they start putting up lights after Halloween. And so I think that's generally speaking the way that we would do it. At least for me personally, though, once I hear Mariah, though, that's now it's go time. So we'll see.
How about you, Ryan?
Yeah, it definitely starts Saturday. Like I like Thanksgiving, don't get me wrong. Like the Lions will be on and everything and definitely have a nice little meal and everything, but no, it definitely starts Saturday, Christmas for me at least. It's the best time of the year. I know you were singing Christmas carols earlier this morning, John. But no, it's definitely starts Saturday, or I'm excited for it. The only thing I dislike is the snow. That's the only thing that I dislike about the Christmas season. But no, it definitely starts Saturday. I like all of them. I like Thanksgiving. I like Christmas. I like Halloween. I like Easter. But no, Christmas is a tier above everyone else.
You don't like snow, but you live in Michigan.
I mean,
You
I don't have a
chose to
choice.
go to Central Michigan University, where you were closer to the snow, as if you could be any closer. You
That's
probably could have picked anywhere you wanted to go to college. You picked Chippewas, and you hate snow. I need you
No,
to
that's
explain
where
this to me.
that's
I
where
need you to
no, that's
explain-
where I learned that I disliked the snow was
Mm.
me at Central. Like at that time before that, I enjoyed the snow because my school would call off school all the time if it snowed just a little bit. So I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love snow." And then when you have to walk around campus, you have to walk like 15, 20 minutes longer if that, and got to cut through all these different buildings, and you got to get there and it's cold, and yeah, no. And then also my house sucked, so like you could feel a draft all the time when it was cold outside. Like I swear there was holes in our wall through from the outside in. So yeah, no, I learned to dislike the snow while I got to Mount Pleasant. But
My uncle John used to live. Well, he didn't used to live. He went to Northern Michigan for college,
Yeah, I
and
would do that.
there were days where he would his dorm was on the third floor, and there were days where sometimes he would step out of his third floor dorm onto the snow and walk to class. So that's how that goes. So yeah, you want to go to school in Michigan, you want to come up here. I mean, it's not even like here. It is one thing, but I mean, we talked to No Business Soccer podcast. I mean, that guy lives out in Buffalo. Like that's even twice as worse as what we got. So all things considered, I guess it's not as bad as what it could be. But yeah, it's
Are you
brutal
talking
out
about
there.
I hate soccer podcast?
Or I hate soccer. My bad. Yeah,
No,
the other
no
way.
worries. I was just making sure. Because I don't remember talking to No Business. But hey, I mean, it's possible. A lot of guests we've had on.
So when I was first starting to do radio for Central, obviously Buffalo being in the MAC, it was one of my buddies. I was like, "Oh yeah, I got a scheduling meeting to get to schedule my games for the year for women's basketball." And he goes, "Ryan, do not choose to go to Buffalo in January. It's going to be an extended trip. It's going to be freezing the whole time. Do not go to Buffalo." And I took his word for it. I never went to Buffalo with the CMU women's basketball team or even the baseball or the softball team for that. But no, I would absolutely avoid Buffalo. I think it's cool when the Bills have a snowy game, but no, yeah, I'm not going to Buffalo.
Well, the reason I asked this question is because it's some. I would imagine it's a point of contention, probably in families around the country, where you're like, "Hey, when does Thanksgiving begin, and when does Christmas begin? When do you start this?" Because growing up, we always hosted Thanksgiving, and so you always had the tree up, and so the tree would always go up about a week or so before Thanksgiving in preparation for the family coming over and being a part of the event. In our house, we don't necessarily host Thanksgiving. And so it's like, when do you start putting this thing up? And then more importantly, when do you start taking it down, right? I mean, for a lot of people, is it like the day after Christmas? Some people are like, they're done, right? Some people leave that thing up. I actually saw a video the other day where someone put their tree up and they put a sheet over it and they like painted like picture, the eyes and like for a ghost. And so there you go. Now you can leave this thing up during Halloween now too. So, there's just different ways to be able to celebrate these holidays without, having to do a bunch of other work. But I was just curious your guys' thoughts on
People have
when
their
seasons
routines
begin.
too.
Huh?
Yeah, people have their routines too. They're married to their routines. One of my best buddies always gets a big tree, an actual tree every year. I don't know how he gets it in there, but I mean, he's like Clark Griswold, man. I mean, Christmas is his time of the year. So I don't know how he manages to drag that thing in there, but yeah, he does it.
Bianca loves Thanksgiving. Her favorite holiday is Thanksgiving, and the reason why, it's the one real true holiday where there's nothing expected outside of just having food, right? And so you think about that, right? Christmas, it's all expectations. Easter, there's still giving out gifts, right? Even that our kids are still getting stuff. Every other holiday, you're supposed to give a present or get a present. It's like, no, this is the one where you just get to sit and be thankful and eat. And if you're bringing anything, it's just the food.
Question.
And so
Question. Do you guys like turkey?
absolutely.
Oh God, that stuff's so gross.
What the hell is
It's so
First
bland.
off, be on camera when you're going to say nonsense like this, okay? I mean, don't put the mouth.
Yeah, speak from the
face.
peanut
Turkey
gallery
is
over here.
gross, man. Turkey is so gross.
So
like
you've
it's so
never had a
bland.
turkey sandwich?
No, I've had
You've had a
lunch
club
meat,
sandwich?
lunch meat turkey. But if I'm if I'm eating like an actual turkey, that is so bland. Like there's no taste to it at all. Like it's
That's
so
why you dip it
bad.
in the gravy, bro. That's why you put everything else
Who
on
makes
it.
your turkey dinner?
My uncle did for the longest time, but then after that, we just decided that everyone's like, dude, the turkey thing sucks. Let's not eat that.
Maybe it's the
But
person
this
that
is-
made the food that ruined it for you.
It could be, but I'm not eating it because it's so bland.
Here's the deal. We are going to make a Thanksgiving now. We're going to do a Thanksgiving dinner. We're going to make it all the fixins. We're going to have turkey. We're going to do it right and make sure that
We're
make
just
sure
gonna
that
DoorDash
Ryan-
something. That's
make
what we're
sure
gonna do.
Ryan likes it because that statement is bullshit. I'm
How
going to
is
say it
it
right now.
DoorDash Thanksgiving dinner.
DoorDash
No,
Thanksgiving.
dude, Ryan, that's why you do stacks, bro. That's why you like put all the food on one plate and then it all just like mixes together, and then the turkey tastes like it's supposed to take on the taste of everything else around it.
I'm just saying.
You know what I
that,
mean?
you can't come on this show and bash Thanksgiving dinner, my guy.
I didn't. I just
Yeah,
bashed turkey.
what the hell?
Turkey
isn't good. That's what I bashed. I
Yeah.
didn't bash
It's
the
probably
whole
'cause-
thing.
It's probably because
Like
you're
mac
the
and
person,
cheese is gas,
Probably whoever made
mac
your
and cheese is
turkey just
gas.
didn't know what they were doing.
and that's
Like,
a very
if
there's
my
a very
father-
strong possibility. My
if-
uncle
Hey!
can't cook sometimes.
If my father started making turkey dinner, we would all quit eating turkey tomorrow because my father does not believe in anything to do with salt or any type of spices. It would be terrible. It would be terrible. And sounds like, no offense to your uncle, it just sounds like he didn't know how to make turkey.
Again, that's a very strong possibility because
Well,
it's a very strong possibility.
Wait, who
very
was the,
strong
who was the
tried,
other
though.
person? Was it his?
tried.
Was it like his brother? Who was the next person up in line who made the turkey? Was it like a family recipe being passed down?
I have no idea. We have not had a Thanksgiving turkey. I think in probably since like 2018, 2019,
I'm sorry.
which just happens to be
To be fair,
6 or 7 years ago.
do you have to eat turkey though?
I
Do you
stopped
have
eating
to?
it.
I mean, is
I
that a part? Do you have to on Thanksgiving? Is that a part of it?
I
is that an
don't. I don't
unwritten rule?
anymore.
That's fair. I'm just asking questions, man. I mean, I know
that's a
people that
John
have
question.
ordered
Do you have
pizzas
to
on
have
Thanksgiving.
or have to have a turkey?
Yes.
No, you.
I think the
don't.
point is to just eat a lot, man.
Yeah, that's the
what I
point.
think.
That's why I have
Yes.
mac
No,
and cheese.
No. Okay. Can
ham.
you have? Hold on. Can
Hey.
you have a traditional Christmas without a Christmas tree?
I
No,
mean,
doesn't matter, fake or not.
I imagine there's an apartment in New York that you can't fit
No,
a
I'm just
tree in.
saying,
You know?
Can you claim to be at a traditional Christmas party without a tree? Without a tree.
I mean, I feel like it doesn't. I feel like
The
it's as
tree-
long as
what
you're
do you-
there together.
No, hold on. Again, I'm putting this in perspective. I'm not saying that what you're saying is completely wrong. What I am saying is, if you're going to call it a Thanksgiving meal, it's got to have the turkey.
No, all that
That's
makes
all I'm saying.
Thanksgiving
That's
is
all I'm saying.
the Lions on TV somehow losing a Thanksgiving.
Dude,
game,
you
and
gotta
that's
turn
the
your
only
mic down, man. It is like in my. I mean, my ears are exploding right now.
Well, the levels are. I'm trying to fix the levels here. They're all like messed. You and I are messed up compared to Nate's. But no. Yeah, that's. No, I think you can have Christmas without a Christmas tree. I think you absolutely can.
No, yes, you can. But I'm saying if you're claiming it to be a traditional Christmas party and you're inviting everybody over and there's no tree, I don't think you can claim it to be a traditional Christmas party. Is all I'm saying. You can't.
Tradition
call
can be a
Thanksgiving Day without
cop-out.
turkey.
Tradition can be a cop out though sometimes.
What do you mean by tradition?
Like, come on, man. Like,
We
people
did it
use
this way
tradition
for
as
30 years.
excuses.
Okay,
We gotta do
yeah,
it.
to
this way
not-
too.
yes,
Give me one
exactly.
example in your lifetime where you went to a party over Christmas that was celebrating gift giving and the whole thing that didn't have a tree.
To be honest, I don't even look at a Christmas tree. Like, I don't really notice if it's there or not.
You're telling me the staple of your Christmas environment is not the tree and the decorations to go with it.
For me, all the holidays that matter, or the only reason that matters with the holiday is I'm with my family or friends or whatever it is. Like,
I think the lights are more important.
ooh, that's a good point.
I think
Okay,
Christmas
yeah. Okay,
lights
the
are
lights,
more important.
like the little
Yes.
the wreaths, the
And the tree.
garlands, the wreath. Okay, I
Yeah.
can give you that.
Yeah, little outside decorations.
I
Now
can give you that.
see, right,
Guys,
because
if
then
this
you're
show
sharing
does
the
not
Christmas
come
spirit
back
with
tomorrow,
everybody.
It's because I don't see eye to eye. This is worse than politics for me.
Wow.
Worse than religion right now. This is
So we're
my blood is boiling right now. If you didn't know, it is boiling. Like, what is going on right now?
saying.
We're literally
A
saying that
wreath?
Thanksgiving doesn't have to have turkey. And
mean,
we're also
doesn't.
saying that Christmas doesn't need a tree.
So what if it's what if it's there but I
Anyone
don't
watch
eat it?
Home Alone? Didn't anyone watch Home Alone? Literally, Kevin McAllister
Yeah.
had to go out and get a damn tree.
Well, if you think about it,
I
on
remember
Christmas,
that.
bad
Yeah.
things happen to him on Christmas.
What the hell that's just a plot.
He had to defend his house on Christmas. All I'm
Yeah.
saying. Did not think Home Alone would be
Yeah,
on the bingo
that
card
wasn't
today,
very
just
much in the Christmas spirit, setting traps all over his house. That wasn't, wasn't very Christmassy of him.
I'm just so okay. So I want to clarify. So you're saying from regardless of whatever our beliefs are, you're saying that the quote unquote Thanksgiving dinner does not need turkey, and
I was asking a
Christmas
question.
does not need a tree.
I
Is what
mean-
you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: if the turkey's there and I don't eat it, is that sacrilegious?
No. No.
Okay.
No, not at
It
all.
just has to be present. all right.
Absolutely. It needs to be the.
Let's just
option.
bring a
It
live
needs to
turkey
be-
in then and just
it's
have
like,
him sit
okay.
there.
Yeah, I get. Okay, the best way to put this. Okay,
He's
if you go
here.
to a if you go to a wedding,
I'm glad we're talking
if
about
you go
soccer
to a
today.
wedding, what does the wedding have? Right, it's going to have a pasta. It's going to have a protein. Typically, it's going to be steak or it's going to be chicken. There's a third option, which is typically fish. But again, you're thinking about what do you walk into? You're walking steak, chicken, whatever, right? I'm just saying you
Yeah.
walk into a Thanksgiving dinner and you have a goose on the table. That might be or a ham on the table. Wait a second. Now, ham could be there, but turkey better be there. Otherwise,
It
it's
doesn't
not a
need to be
Thanksgiving.
there.
Absolute Bianca.
He's
I need,
foaming.
I need to call in. I need to call in my wife, who happens to not be an American. Ask this, answer this question. My wife from Brazil. She was born in Brazil, went to Canada. My
Oh
question
my
is simple.
god.
Turkey
Oh
is required.
my god.
She's the only non-American here.
It doesn't have it's not that big of a deal if it's not there. Wait, does
Oh.
football have to be on the TV for Thanksgiving?
That's
yes,
another
it
one. I
does.
figure,
I mean,
yes. Even if you don't like it, it has to be on in the background.
Again, again, my families, and we've grown up in the Midwest. We happen to have access to that. I don't know if that's something that people all do across the country. I don't know if that makes it a Thanksgiving, because again, there's football now on every day of the week. So Thursday just happened to be,
Action.
so Thursday just happens to be the day that they happen to have, they'll have like 4 games on now. It just used to be the Lions and then the Cowboys, and then it became like 9 more games.
There's 3 games actually, so
Yeah. So thank you, Ryan. No, you can't call it Thanksgiving dinner without having a turkey.
I mean,
sorry.
yeah, I think you
Ooh.
can.
Yeah, and that's
Ooh.
If there's food on the table,
It's
you're with
American.
Your
this
family,
also is
it's
coming from
Thanksgiving.
someone who
do
doesn't
whatever
seem
you
like
wanna do.
turkey. So I don't know if I
I
can
like
take-
lunch meat turkey.
which is one and the same, by the way.
That's
Well, it
that's a
clearly
little
tastes better
odd
than-
that you like lunch meat turkey, but no.
It's just like how I don't like tomatoes, but I like ketchup.
no, that's not the same thing, though.
I do like bananas, but nothing banana flavored.
That's
You know,
a good
something
thing too.
that
You don't like the
Yep,
banana runs?
yep.
Oh,
No,
those are
hell
good.
no.
I haven't had those in years. But no, I
Not a
mean,
fan.
again, we don't like kill the rest of the show talking about nonsense. That has nothing to do with soccer. As
It's
Ryan
important. It's a
alluded
very
to.
important conversation.
Yeah, we killed
Very
20
important.
minutes.
But I do think it's important for us to make a stance that turkey is required at a Thanksgiving meal. It is required.
Eh,
I don't
It
know,
is
man. I like
required.
pizza
potato,
at Thanksgiving.
potato.
Huh?
You know, I like pizza at Thanksgiving. Pizza's
Ooh,
so
I
good.
need pizza.
Little pepperoni za.
guys are out of control.
Throw a little bacon on that.
That is
I eat it.
Yeah.
Out of control. Well, we're on 179 here. We might not make it to 180 after all this. We're gonna go to break. We'll be back
Bianca.
here. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Let's go to break.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics.
Letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play,
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
call 586-304-4405
And start watching today.
Welcome back to Inside the Game, where 1/3 of us believe in truly Thanksgiving meals the right way.
This will also be the final episode of Nate and I.
All kidding aside,
We hope
welcome back
we
to
hope you guys enjoy your
179. Hey, that's
Thanksgiving
the
pizza.
beauty of actually, I don't know if that's the beauty of anything. To be fair, I don't. You guys, someone just said they could have pizza on Thanksgiving. I don't even know what to do with all that.
I mean,
but
he's not wrong.
Yum, yum, yum,
again,
yum, yum.
You can do whatever the hell you want. That's the beauty of the world we live in.
It's America,
However,
man.
I feel
It's
like
America.
Huh?
It's America, dude. You do what you want to do. You know, it's great.
yeah.
American dream. Eating pizza on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
It's great.
If
Yeah.
pizza was even an option on Thanksgiving, if it was open, otherwise you're having DiGiorno.
You can make a pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you're making a pizza. I mean,
yeah,
it's
Papa
not delivered
Murphy's or
DiGiorno.
whatever they
I mean,
call it.
whatever,
Yeah.
hey, whatever strikes your fancy, you can do whatever you want. That is the beauty
you go.
of the world we do live in. It doesn't make you right; it just makes you.
That's the attitude, though.
Either way, let's
I'm
talk
glad
about
we
some.
were-
Let's talk about some soccer.
I'm glad
Okay.
we're saving some topics for tomorrow after that 22 minutes of. But no, this is gonna lead into two things. So this first one of Michael Wilbon, he said, which will then segue us into the other one based on these numbers. So Wilbon said on his PTI show, I have three. This was in terms of like their little like final, all the different questions at the end, and they talked about Inter Miami in Nashville. And Wilbon said, this was, of course, Friday night. He said, I have 3 TV screens. None of them will have Inter Miami versus Nashville. And I believe there was college football on. NBA was on as well. I think the MLB World Series was on as well. But, no. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
I don't give a shit. I mean, I don't give a shit. I mean, if he doesn't give a shit, why should I give a shit? I mean, to be fair, I haven't watched PTI in 20 years. The fact that it's even still on the air to me is shocking. I don't even know the fact that that's still there. Who watches PTI? Do you guys watch PTI?
Can't say I do.
Do you at all, Nate?
I mean, I see highlights of it, and I don't watch it
Oh, so
seriously
you see
day
the
to
short
day.
clips that ESPN has made as a result of the show they put out on the air, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So-
I haven't watched a true ESPN show other than Pat McAfee, which is not a true ESPN show. It's his show.
It is.
And so I haven't watched anything non-Pat McAfee on ESPN other than a Monday Night Football game in 20 years. Lost Nate's image. There he goes. In 20 years, because it's nonsense. You know, I if I want to go someplace to watch politics, I will go watch it on C-SPAN. You know, where politics is designed to be. So no, I don't watch that stuff. And again, if he doesn't want to watch soccer, that's on him. I mean, we didn't talk about this yesterday. You know, we didn't talk about this yesterday. But the numbers, and I think we're gonna talk about it today. The MLS's numbers, even though we were told earlier in the season that they were down, are actually in fact up. And so, do we have that prepared at all, Ryan, or no?
Yeah, that's what I'm actually coming up with the question of the day too. But yeah, that's why I wanted to say this first and then segue into it. But if you guys want to finish your thoughts on this, we can transition.
That,
to
which
it.
we'll talk about where soccer where it's going and where it was and where it's going as a result of the World Cup. But having us tell us that a guy from the PTI who's well past his prime in the media, I'm good with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's growing. Ryan, you made the video the other day about how it's growing in the United States, and I agree with that. And I think the World Cup's going to help with that. And I think we all kind of realize, especially with the talent levels that we're producing now. I mean, we have 18-year-olds that are scoring goals routinely in some of the highest levels across the world. So all those things are happening, right? But I'm going to say this: like, two things can be true at the same time. Like, while it might be an offhanded comment and a slight towards soccer fans and people who actually enjoy watching the MLS, this is the reality of what the cultural relevance is of the game in the United States stacked up against the other sports, not standing alone. Standing alone, it's growing, and we're seeing that. We're seeing more numbers. We're seeing more kids playing. We're seeing more people tune in. We've seen that even with our own two eyes, but stacked up against all of the other sports in the U.S., right? If you have a World Series game on the same night, if you have an NBA Finals rematch against to start the season, the Thunder and the Pacers, if you have football games on that night, the American football games, it's not going to stack up against all those other sports. And this is why I thought it was so important, and I'll bring you back to week 1 or 2 of the college football season when Mauricio Pochettino went on College Game Day to go in front of I think he was in Alabama or Ohio. He was at Ohio State.
He was on Big Noon.
Game Day was, yep. And he was there, and he was with the crowd, and he was a part of the Game Day crew and everything. That's why I thought that was so important, because there's this defensiveness that comes from people who love the game of soccer in this insecurity when it comes to the remainder of the American sports scene. It's almost like their first knee-jerk reaction to any sort of teasing towards the sport of soccer is to just immediately go into fight or flight mode. And I get it. I understand it, right? Because there is that mentality around the sport in the United States, and it still very much exists today. But there's a certain defensiveness or a willingness to be like, no, this is a real sport. Whereas, what did I see? I saw a comment the other day that made me laugh. Someone called American football traveling handball or something, which I thought was great. I thought it was very creative. But that's a lot of American soccer fans will have that knee-jerk reaction. So I think it's important to just laugh it off and realize that that's just the mentality of a lot of dodo brain Americans sometimes when it comes to the sport, because they've never given it a chance. They've never actually tried to consume it. And I know this because I know people who say these things. And then I watch a game with them and they're actually kind of entertained by it. I'm like, well, why don't you just give it a chance? But they grew up in a culture that just didn't prioritize it. But two things can be true at the same time. So that's why I think it's important for soccer fans or the people in the soccer media or Mauricio Pochettino to show his face at those games and in those environments. Because it shouldn't be we're over here and you guys are over here. We really should just try to at least get the people that are on the fence. But that's still the mentality around the sport in the United States. For better or for worse, that overarching compared to the other sports, that's the mentality.
Ryan.
Yeah, I can put up the MLS numbers. There's also another number I do want to say in terms of U.S. soccer after this. But yeah, the MLS, a 29% increase in audience on linear and streaming platforms, reaching an average of 3.7 million live match viewers a week, which is actually up from normal, and a total attendance in the league with 11.2 million fans attending all the games, which is second all-time in the MLS, set a record for ticket sales and revenue, 10% increase in social media followers, and 17% increase in social post impressions. And then the final number, which I saw earlier this morning, did not write it down, but U.S. Soccer generated $263.7 million in revenue during the 2025 fiscal year, according to its financial report. 37% increase from 2024, highest total since the 2017 fiscal year.
Yeah. Yeah, so as a standalone league, it's seen a lot of growth. Anyways, no, go ahead, JT.
Yeah, I think a couple things. One, we talked about this earlier in the year in regards to MLS, and single game viewership is still down, and that has a lot more to do with the streaming aspect of Apple
Yeah.
TV. We've talked about that, and so that has gone down, but the average has gone up. But how is that possible? Well, one, there's more games being streamed than there's ever been, right? And then number two is, again, when you have a player like Messi, you have players that we see, across this league that are coming in. It draws attention to those bigger matchups, and so it's been very, very good for the league to have players who have a name recognition and bring people to the environments in the stadiums. And so, obviously, with the World Cup coming as well, it's also had a huge impact on that. So it's great for soccer. It's great for soccer. Again, I think the other thing, too, we've talked about this, was specifically in regards to the MLS. From a marketing standpoint, I don't see anything. And again, we're not in a soccer MLS market, so the chances of us seeing a whole bunch of MLS stuff, probably not that great. If I was in the Columbus market in Chicago, I was in Nashville, I would probably be inundated with ads. I would hope to watch games and to be a part of that environment, but we don't see that here. So from our perspective, it's non-existent. I don't know of anyone that lives in a market like Minnesota, which did they win last night, Ryan? I know that you were tracking that.
They won on PKs.
All right, so he's not going to be bashing Minnesota United today.
Yet.
But are they inundated with advertisements about their games? Because we don't see it here. We don't see it here at all. And again, to be fair, I'm not watching linear TV. The only thing I'm going to be consuming is either on in shorts on TikTok or YouTube, Instagram, or during another broadcast where I'm watching a football game on a Sunday. That's the only time you're going to get me, because I don't watch regular TV anymore. I mean, do you guys watch regular TV?
Only sports.
Only sports, but how are you watching it? How are you consuming it?
Cable.
You are on cable at home?
Yeah, well, my parents have cable, so yeah.
How about you, Nate? Are you you're probably consuming it on your phone?
Yeah, yeah, for the most part, yeah, that's pretty much.
And I actually, let me put myself on screen. I actually made a video on this, and some people had some interesting questions, or interesting comments, about this, about soccer growing here in terms of the MLS. And this one coming from John Capney. He said, if Ronaldo would have moved to the MLS, the league worked. Or the league would be twice
Ryan,
as...
are we off the air right now, Ryan?
No.
Not yellow?
No, we're all red.
I'm showing that we're currently frozen right now on all of our platforms, including TikTok.
We're red?
Nobody move.
I was just curious.
We're red?
Yeah, I was getting error messages across the board, so I was just curious if you were getting the same thing.
No, we're red. TikTok. I'm moving on TikTok. I think we're fine.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, I can check some of the platforms after I read this comment. He said if Ronaldo would have moved to the MLS, the league would be twice as big in terms of viewers, and if Messi were to be in the Saudi Arabia League, nobody would watch that shite. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I Americans are more into the Premier League and the Champions League, La Liga. Not so much Bundesliga. I don't think that they're into that league as much. I think if you were to put it in Premier League is probably the number one destination for the American viewer, and then I would say that La Liga, Bundesliga, and MLS would be somewhere in that mix. Is my guess. I don't think Saudi Arabia is even in their purview.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think people want to watch the best talent available, and I think that exists in the Premier League. I think it exists in the Champions League. necessarily think it exists in the MLS, and I think that partially plays into it. And again, it goes back to like these markets that have teams. It's easy to rally behind a team, but for the rest of the country, like where does that necessarily leave you with all this? But I would agree with you on the game to game viewing being down, because it is created, and we've created this in the sports world. It's a gauntlet to be able to watch all the teams that you want to watch. You know, like I almost like prefer to go places that just have all of that, like a restaurant, my parents' house, because they have all the different streaming services. But it's so hard to actually consistently watch these games because of that reality. You know, you got one on YouTube, you got one on Peacock, you got one over here. It's so hard to keep track of all that. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, generally speaking, yeah, that's certainly the case.
Yeah, I think that we as Americans are tied to the traditions, the things that we love, right? And what are we used to watching, right? We're used to watching football. We're used to watching basketball. We're used to watching, baseball. We're used to watching hockey. And soccer is not something that when I was growing up was on TV a ton. It just wasn't. And so now your generation, Ryan, all you have to consume and have been consuming for the longest time is the Premier League. And I would ask, obviously I'm going to ask you because you grew up on this, Ryan, is that you are way more in love with the Premier League than the MLS. And the MLS has been on TV the entire time as well. But what have we promoted heavily here in this country? We have not promoted the Premier League, the MLS like the Premier League. I know it's on every Saturday. I know every Saturday morning, every Sunday, it's on Peacock, it's on USA. I know where I can find it.
Yeah.
And again, I did not grow up with that, but you did. You literally grew up with every Saturday and Sunday Premier League on your TV. You can watch it anytime you want to. It's available, and the whole world is showcasing it nationally. MLS is not that way. Yeah. And so that's why I asked. So for you, had the MLS been front and center every Saturday and Sunday since you were a kid, you probably would be more in love with that than the Premier League.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I absolutely love the Premier League way more than the MLS. I mean, I do have a team that I support for that. But we talked about, I think one of the first episodes I ever joined you guys with, we talked about, promoting the American soccer players, and we don't. Like, if you watch any sporting event, you'll see a New Balance commercial, and there's a couple soccer athletes that feature in it. One of them, Bukayo Saka, another one is Trent Alexander-Arnold, and another one is Endrick from Real Madrid. Those are three non-American soccer players. Yet, if we are promoting soccer players, why aren't we promoting more of Christian Pulisic? Why aren't we promoting Weston McKennie, Tim Weah with New Balance? But instead, we are promoting the international soccer players. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong that New Balance is deciding to go with them. Like, I'm not saying I hate them for that. But when these commercials are airing here in the United States, that's what everyone sees. That's who the players that they're seeing. And if you also just kind of sit in, of course, let's look at college football, for instance. College football is on NBC now with the Big Ten. They used to just be the Notre Dame Broadcasting Center, but now it's the Big Ten and everything. And when you're watching a football game, when you're watching Michigan State, how many times did you see the Premier League is back in action next Saturday and this, and this, or the Premier League plays tomorrow, Sunday, and this, and this? That so many people are in tune to college football that they just happen to see it. And then you look at ESPN. They have La Liga. They have Bundesliga. What do they promote a couple of times during college football games? That's what they promote. The MLS is on Fox, and I watch Fox for college football as well because Michigan's on, but I never see an MLS promo when I'm watching Fox, which is crazy to me because the MLS is on Fox or Fox Sports 1, whatever it is, but you never see an MLS promotion. You just never do, and you're completely right on that.
Yeah, that kind of circles back to the whole point of it just being like on its own island. Like that's the biggest problem with my mind when it comes to soccer in the United States. Like it's just like over there. We count off, all right, what are the major sports in the U.S.? You got baseball, you got basketball, you got football, you got hockey, right? And then in our minds, like soccer's just kind of over there. It's not. Clearly from the numbers that we're seeing, we're seeing an increase. We're seeing all these other things. But you're right. It's just not. It's not it's not promoted. You have to be in people's faces about it in order to generate the kind of momentum you want to actually get it to a place to where it's culturally relevant. They just don't do that effectively.
Well, and that's where, like, for me, you know, this Apple TV deal, as great as it might have been for the league, not its base and not its fans, but for the league itself, probably the best thing ever. But for everybody else, it's not. These games need to be on, to be fair, need to be on NBC. You know, right? Because you hear, where are your fans? And if you're Dan Garner and you're listening to me right now, this is important. Okay? It's like, you're the commissioner of the MLS. Cancel that Apple TV deal. Send it to NBC. Have it on Premier League in the morning, MLS in the afternoon. Right? And have it on Peacock, have it wherever. Oh my gosh, what would explode? I mean, my goodness, you would see the trailings of Premier League matches happening on NBC, leaning over and going into those MLS games, and you would gain a whole new fan base. You know, and so I think that's important. And I think I said, is it Dan Garber? I think I might have said Dan Garner, but I think it's Garber is the actual way you pronounce the commissioner's last name. But again,
is that the focus for them? Is that the focus?
No, because every league is about making money, and I talk to this with leagues even at all levels. Yeah. Well, what's in it? Yeah. What's in it for us? We want to make money. Well, you know, I understand you want to get rich quick, but another way would be to create an environment where over time you make a shit ton of money. And if we look at what Roger Goodell did with the NFL, he could have just sold that to one environment, and and it would still been great. But what has he done? He has monetized every aspect of the NFL. Everything has been monetized. It didn't used to be that way. The draft used to be held in the theater right in New York. Now it's this traveling road show that has just created so much buzz. And everything about the NFL has been monetized. I mean, the amount of money that league has made is unbelievable. Now, we can't compare NFL to the MLS, but if you start thinking in that same kind of way, you could absolutely do the exact same thing in the MLS. Monetize the shit out of it. But you can do it over time, and you'll still make a ton of money. This Apple TV deal is killing your fan base because nobody wants to watch it that way. And I know they're trying to get Major League Baseball on Apple TV now too, right? They're trying to make that long-term deal. I mean, I know, but they want to do they want to make it league-wide. They want to do a whole league deal structured on Apple TV. I understand Apple's going hard after that deal, and I don't blame them for doing that, but then what are you going to do? You're going to kill Major League Baseball even more than it's been killed. Just, you know. Yeah, so I just accessibility is really important, and I'm not saying that you need to make things free because I'm not always saying that. But you know what? Peacock is the stream. You have all these. I mean, right now, we're watching the U.S. men's national team games right now, and friendlies are on HBO Max. They're on Paramount, TNT. They're like at 7 different places. Of which all I think you have to pay to be on. So
and isn't it funny that this seems like the consistent theme of every conversation that we're having, whether it be getting the right kids involved or finding the most talented kids available that maybe don't have access to the resources, right? Making the game more accessible to them. And then on the other side, we have the viewer experience to try to get more people interested in this sport. And yet that's a tough thing to do. That's a tough ask. That's not accessible because the games are all over the place. Accessibility seems like the common theme to me in every one of these conversations that we're having. And certainly on the viewing side, that's the case. And like I can't speak for everybody else, but I know for me, if you had all the games, in a place that was easy to access that I could get to, I would watch every single one of them. Now, I'm just one person in a list of millions that I'm sure they're measuring to see exactly what, they're doing in terms of growing, whether it be the MLS, whether it be just USA Soccer in general. But that seems like the common theme of everything that we're talking about, right? Like that is the middle point, is that we need to make this sport more accessible to the common American. We need to just get the game in front of them. Right? Because that's our biggest issue. That's our biggest problem. And like, why do you think the sport of American football and basketball have grown so much overseas? Because it's immediately accessible. Even the NFL internationally, it's immediately accessible. You You know when the games are. You know who the players are. Like, when we go over there, we're selling out stadiums left and right, and people are coming out to watch. Like, they don't play high-level football over there. They watch it on TV, but they watch us play, and they know because they're exposed to it all the time. All the time. And so I don't think it's ever going to generate as much buzz as the NFL does, but they can at least try to do something different to make it more accessible for the common American.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that to Ryan's point about marketing, I mean, you know, the commercials back in the day where Michael Jordan was in a commercial with 4 or 5 other athletes from other sports, that was a thing.
Yeah.
And I think on some level it still is a thing. But you could absolutely, you know, if you're Adidas, have 7 MLS players in a commercial. You know, you could very easily do, and then that becomes a thing. I mean, you talk about a New Balance commercial, right? You have 3 players who are non-Americans in this commercial, right? And they're in this New Balance commercial. And they probably can stand alone on their own as well as their own 15-second spots, but they're one 45-second or one 30-second commercial full of 3 different players. You could totally do that in the MLS with not just Adidas, but with any brand for that matter that would be part of the MLS, U.S. men's national team. You and I both, we all know this, that if the U.S. men's national team shows well in the World Cup, 3 days later they're all going to be on Wheaties boxes. They're going to be marketing up the wazoo. We know how that works. You know, the fact that it's not happening yet seems kind of weird to me, but, you know.
Also, another point that I totally even forgot about. Look at Messi, for example. He's on all the Lowe's commercials. He's on the he's in the damn Super Bowl, for crying out loud, with the Michelob Ultra. I mean, I'm not hating on that one, but like another aspect, and he doesn't even speak. Messi does not even say a word in these commercials. He's just there with the product or wearing a Lowe's jersey or something. And that's another aspect of promoting a non-American soccer player in front of everybody. And I mean, I like Messi as much as the next person does, but why aren't we having Pulisic on there? And I mean, we can't really have can't think of a retired soccer. Maybe Alexi Lalas, Landon Donovan, Tim Howard Clint Dempsey could be on one. And then even I didn't even think of this one. Look at our Paramount Plus's soccer coverage. It's like for the big ones, we don't have any Americans on there. And then you look at the Premier League coverage. We have Tim Howard on there, but that's about it. We don't there's no American soccer exposure or anyone in kind of a sense of power, quote unquote, on anything. And maybe it's because, we don't have the well-known players. We're kind of building up that reputation as we speak. But there's no representation of American soccer anywhere.
I thought you were going to say no taxation after that, too.
No taxation without whatever they call it, representation.
Sorry, I had to add that one in, but especially as we're talking about England, right? The Premier League, right? It's like, it's funny. Now, I again, we could debate this and have this conversation for the next 7 months. The American business, the American fan, the MLS, and everybody involved needs to step up to this because, again, if you want it to get better, then it shouldn't be this hard. Like, it should not be this difficult in 2025, going into 2026 with the World Cup right around the corner, to not have a poster, a video, a short coming out every 28 seconds about soccer in this country. And that's the part that I struggle with as we go into the World Cup cycle. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to finish up this episode. You're watching number 179 here this morning on Tuesday, October the 28th.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs.
From high-quality production to exceptional coverage,
We ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today.
call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast.
And let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Welcome back to episode number 179 here on this Tuesday, October the 28th, last Tuesday here in October, just a few days away here from Halloween. I'm Jonathan Turner. That's Nathan Wangler, Ryan Glinsky, our producer, as our show continues here this morning. What else we have on topic or on task here, Ryan Glinsky?
So 9 minutes. We can talk about this one real quick if we would like. Revolving Chris Richards. He said this quite a bit ago. But he said, F a friendly. I think when it comes to on the field, this was, of course, during the last October camp. I think when it comes to on the field, we kind of have to become hard asses. For too long, we kind of knew we were outplaying teams, but we were trying to do it the pretty way. So I think making sure that you're able to be nasty when you have to be, I think that's something that we kind of try to adapt. Excuse my French, but F a friendly. You got to go out there and do what you need to do.
That's a missing piece right there.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a minute, the identity of this team, right? And what this country in regards to soccer was founded on was the physicality, the intensity, and not so much the technical. And obviously, as we've developed as a soccer nation, the technical aspect of our game is vastly improved. The way we play the game and tactically awareness is drastically improved. And so when those two things start to, intersect in a soccer game, you start to do things that you otherwise wouldn't have done, and you start to kind of deter or, go away from what got you there in the first place. And as we talked about this before, with the academies and with things that are happening at the lower levels in the younger ages and the younger age groups, we're seeing less focus on physical and more focus on the tactical and technical aspect of the game. And so those things have come to a head here in 2025. And so I completely agree with his mindset here. We have to absolutely get back to going out there and being tough, going out there and not caring if in the process of you doing your job, you get hurt and aren't afraid to get hurt, and that you're going to run through players to get to the ball. All those things are what we need. And if we have a hope of doing anything in the World Cup of substance, and when I say of substance, that means getting out of group play, right? Getting into the next round, right? Making it maybe all the way to a quarterfinal, semifinal, going as far as we possibly can. It's going to come with a combination of the technical and tactical, but with a heavy dose of the physical. And if we can do those things, then anything is possible.
I did a game with Neil Rule last week, which I felt like was the most ironic thing ever, right? Because Neil's been around the sport for much longer than I have. He's been commentating at a much higher level than I have for a long time. And so it felt odd that I was doing color commentary for someone with that much soccer knowledge, but it's amazing what you can learn from someone who's been around a game for a long time, especially even in the midst of a broadcast, because you pick up on things as you go. And one of the things that we were talking about in the middle of this game was exactly what we're mentioning here, right? How early on our understanding of the game was still, big, physical, fast, strong. Whereas, in other parts of the world, it's more about technicality and how pretty it looks and touch and creativity. But Neil said it's important that we don't completely go away from that first element of it. It's good to have the technical. It's good to be pretty. It's good to be creative. But at the end of the day, this game still requires a certain level of physicality, a certain level of toughness, a certain level of grit, and a certain FU attitude that I think we're starting to see out of this United States men's national team, specifically after that Australia game. Because I think they saw the way that those guys were going after Christian Pulisic, and that's where I think this quote kind of came from. I think it came from the heart of Chris Richards, because he realized, hey, we can't play pretty, because we're going to play these gutsy, grind it out, get after you kind of teams. We can't afford to just sit back and catch, to sit back and have cement feet. We have to get after these teams. And between that quote from him and then what I saw to Mauricio Pochettino in that video that we released on social media and him getting into the guys in the locker room, that is the element, the component to this team that we have been looking for, is that right there. Because again, and this is according to someone who is much wiser in this game than I am, that component of the game still very much matters. And that will still win you games if you're able to do that as a team. And if that's a shared team mentality. I love the intensity. I love that video of Poach getting after the guys. That really brought me to life. I mean, that was awesome because we've been looking for that, right? We've been searching for that. And I think I called the Greg Berhalter area like kind of like the cool uncle vibes, which is what he kind of gave off when he was in that position. Poach is not like that. If Chris Richards is, I hope he's speaking for the entire team, because that element still very much matters. And that's the way they have to play. That's the way they have to play if they expect to win games at a high level and do anything in the World Cup.
Ryan, your thoughts?
No, I like it. We've kind of heard it's felt like a broken record a couple times with our older players, thinking of like the generation of Landon Donovan, Michael Bradley, Tim Howard, all those guys. They talked about how difficult they made it to be when teams played them. Like really good teams had to play it. They made it difficult. A lot of people have said that, and I think them getting back to that grinded out, really ugly type of game could really be beneficial for us. And I mean, I'm not saying like they need it to be super ugly and they just play kickball, park the bus, type that. I'm not saying that at all, but just make it difficult for the opposition. Like my team, Arsenal, for instance, is everyone calls it boring, but they've given up one shot on target in the month of October. Like that's just crazy to me that they've given up one shot on target in the month of October, and that shot like didn't even count as a shot on target. It was just kind of Nketiah just happened to be in the right spot and it just bounced off his head into the hands of Raya. But no, just make it difficult, make it ugly, and that can kind of be kind of like a little bit of our identity. And you know, we're not the best team. We're not even a top 15 team in the world. Let's make it tough for everyone and when teams know they're playing the US, they know that they're going to be in a dogfight.
Absolutely. It is time for question of the day.
Yes, it is. But before we do that, of course, Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% of your order. Visit saltathletic.com today or scan that QR code. But question of the day. If there's a sport soccer could overtake in the U.S., which one would it be?
That's a good question, actually. Baseball.
I think hockey, personally. I think because hockey's more of a regional sport, when you look at the Midwest and you look at certain areas of the country that have hockey, that love hockey, I think it's more of a niche audience than baseball is. I think baseball is a little bit more spread out, at least in terms of the popularity of the sport. But yeah, probably one of those two.
Yeah, it's not gonna be basketball. I mean, basketball is or football, right? So we can just put those two out there and just say that's never gonna happen. Unless the NBA decided to close up shop. And then the G League would take over. But anyways, no, I would say I think baseball has, to be fair. Is baseball number 3 right now, or is it hockey number 3?
I think so.
I think that does. I think it does matter. Because I thought that baseball was actually still in a better position than hockey, but
especially with the pitch clock.
Because obviously that matters, right? Because obviously right now, if hockey is 3rd and baseball is 4th, the more likely leapfrog would be baseball. If hockey is 4th and baseball is 3rd, then it would be.
I guess technically soccer is already over hockey in the United States. So there you go. I guess baseball would be 3rd on that list. These are according to the numbers that I'm looking at. Basketball 2nd, obviously. Football is 1st.
Soccer, are we talking about Major League Soccer or soccer in general?
Well, that's fair. It doesn't really specify. At least because what I'm reading, it just says soccer.
The Premier League does way better than hockey does, and I would even argue the Premier League does even better in some cases than some of the other sports.
Worldwide, though, baseball is still very much a top 3. In terms of viewership, baseball is definitely a top 3 sport worldwide.
Well, yeah, because they've got 180 broadcasts a year times 30 teams. Right? How many teams are in Major League Baseball? Is it 32?
30.
30?
I think.
Well, let's not downplay the cultural relevance of the sport
No,
in certain
Well,
in certain
well,
countries.
unless
But
are you saying there's tradition in baseball and that there has to be a batter in baseball? Unlike on Thanksgiving, there's no turkey necessary. But you're saying, wait, does there have to be hot dogs at a baseball game?
People say I have to.
Does there have to be a hot dog at a baseball game?
No, there just has to be. A
There, I mean, I would say it has to be one. But am I going to get one? I mean, I ranked my favorite foods, ballpark foods. I said pretzel first, and people got mad at me on air. I was like, pretzel number 1. They're like, how can you say that?
Yeah, because I mean,
Like, you gotta have
think about Cracker Jacks. Right? Got to have some Cracker Jacks, right, at the ballpark.
Well, it's in the
right?
song,
And there's a whole song about it. I mean, okay, so but
It's in the
I think
damn
it's a great
song, yeah.
question, right? But in order for it to be baseball, has to have a hot dog. It has to have a hot
Yeah,
dog.
I mean, there has to be one present. Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
it
all right.
feels like the more basic foods to
To be
me.
fair,
you know?
though, I don't
would-
even eat inside the stadium anymore. So
What we're saying is that in order there has to be a hot dog at a baseball game, but there does not have to be a turkey at Thanksgiving.
end of discussion.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yep.
Well, on that note, we will do our research, by the way, on what is that soccer meaning. If it's a Premier League, if it's MLS, my guess is it's like total soccer.
Yeah.
Broadcast.
Yeah. Totality.
Total soccer like
Yep.
in Ted Lasso?
Absolutely not. But that'll wrap up here our episode number 179 here on this morning. We're excited to have you stopping on by. Don't forget, subscribe, like us, share this with your friends and family. Come back here again tomorrow as we'll be on episode number 180, just 20 episodes away from number 200. And we'll continue our conversations about all things soccer and so much more. Thank you again for stopping on by. That's Nathan Wangler, Ryan Glinsky, our producer. I'm Jonathan Turner. Back here tomorrow for number 180 right here on Inside the Game. From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.